It's Saturday, the 22nd of October 2016. A very good evening and welcome to the weekend edition of Primetime News. We are coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. I'm Zola Outskun. Let's start off with a look at our headlines for this evening.
Former chairman of COPE Gunasekara makes a suggestion to identify the root cause of the controversial bond scam.
ජනාධිපති කොමිෂන් සභාවක් ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨාධිකරණ මිනිස්ත්‍රකාරයෙකු එක්කෙනෙක් නායකත්වයේ යටතේ මාස දෙක තුනකින් වාර්තාවක් ඉදිරිපත් කරන්නේ.
The current chairman of COPE certified that the committee report on the bond scam will be presented to Parliament. An independent poll reveals that an overwhelming majority of Sri Lankans prefer the president to instruct on the day-to-day affairs of the country. The government to provide compensation to the families of the two youth who died as a result of a police shooting in Jaffna.
Great debate has arisen in the country regarding the controversy surrounding the central bank bond transactions. Former chairman of the Committee on Public Enterprises or COPE provided this clarification on the issue.
I do not know of any instance in the history of Parliament where two reports have been presented by COPE. The actions of the former central bank governor should be reported to Parliament. The actions of this committee have been politicised and it is a sad state of affairs. If there is a division with regard to the report, then it will prove to be useless. When such things happen, the Parliament cannot take proper steps on financial discipline. If this goes for a vote, then the votes will be cast along party lines. There is a possibility that a majority may oppose this. Eventually what happens is, what the people expect from the COPE committee does not materialize. If such a noble institute divides itself along political lines and produces two reports, then it will be a blow to financial discipline. When you consider it from the side of the people, a question arises as to how they can continue to place their trust in the Parliament. This could turn to be one of the most saddening instances in the history of politics. The only thing left to do is to call on the President to intervene, appoint a presidential commission under the leadership of someone like a former Supreme Court Justice and produce a report in 2 or 3 months. If you want to safeguard financial discipline in the country, then there is no alternative left.
But for more details on the central bank bond scam, we now cross over to Ramesh Bandara, who is standing by at the Newsfirst newsroom. Ramesh, over to you.
Thank you very much, Joel. Now, as you know, the central bank bond controversy came to the forefront once again as the COPE committee, which has concluded its investigation, is preparing the final report that is to be published to Parliament. Now, after 16 months of investigations, yesterday we heard reports that there may not be one, there may be multiple reports prepared by the COPE committee on this bond investigation. This was confirmed today. Let's have a listen to what the convener of the Voice Against Corruption, Wasantha Samarasinghe, has to say about these developments.
Ranil Wickramasinghe and his henchmen have begun the operation to protect these rogues from inside COPE itself. Earlier, the UNP was of the opinion that there was no fraud committee. However, now they are shifting their stance to protect Arjuna Mahendran and lay the blame on others, such as Perpetual. These gentlemen who are saying that fraud did not take place are not explaining the matters to the country, but instead are trying to safeguard those who stole millions of state funds through technical arguments. We have received word that they are attempting to do this process from within COPE. What they are sacrificing is the EPF and the hard-earned money of the people. It is shameful to say that those who called themselves economic specialists have now become specialists in protecting thieves. Is this the Yahapalaniya promised by Ranil Wickramasinghe? Don't the experts of Ranil Wickramasinghe see that they were able to gain unusual profits due to inside information from the central bank? As the Voice Against Corruption, we call on the President to intervene in the matter immediately and appoint a presidential commission to investigate this fraud and to punish all those who were involved.
Meanwhile, the leader of the National Unity Front, Azad Salih, says that it has been too long and the perpetrators are still in the wind. Let's have a listen to what he says.
දැන් COPE කමිටු වාර්තාව ලෑස්ති වෙලා 25 වෙනිදාට එළි දක්වනකොට
In a backdrop where the COPE report has been prepared and is due to be presented before Parliament on the 25th of this month, MP Harsha De Silva says that the UNP group will submit a separate report. Such a thing has never occurred before in Parliament. I am ashamed of this statement. The central bank issue has become a big mess. Now they want to prepare 2 reports. Any political party has that right. But the question arises, who prompted this? For whom was this done? Which party benefited through this? The people are waiting to see if the perpetrators will be brought before the law and punished. It has been 20 months. This has not materialized. How much longer do they need? Mr. President, if you don't trust the FCID or the Bribery Commission, appoint a presidential commission to investigate the matter. If this is done, I am certain that all the rogues can be captured and brought before the law. Do not make any allowances just because they are members of the SLFP or UNP.
හොරන් ටික අල්ලලා ඇතුළට දාන පුළුවන් තත්ත්වයක් ඇති වෙයි. මම නම් කියන්නේ මෙතනදී ශ්‍රී ලංකාකාරය.
Speaking to News First earlier today, Chairman of the Committee on Public Enterprises, Sunil Handunethi, said that the report compiled by himself and the Secretary of COPE will be presented before Parliament on the 25th of this month. Now, he also said that since a separate group of MPs had opposed this report, there will be a second report that will be presented before Parliament as well.
For the past 16 months, COPE conducted extensive investigations, gathered in information from the Auditor General as well as many others. We compiled a report and we are prepared to present this report before Parliament. This report was debated extensively both yesterday as well as the day before. A group of MPs approved this report completely. However, there was another group of MPs who opposed certain points, and therefore we have to create another report taking into consideration their views. We were unable to conclude this report until 8:30 p.m. yesterday.
The chairman of COPE notes that the committee is faced with a complex situation.
We will convene on Monday as well. Since there were MPs who voiced their objections, we have to make amendments and compile a separate report. Both these reports will be presented before Parliament. If the 26 members of COPE decide they want to create individual reports, then as the chairman I am bound to present all of them before Parliament.
Sunil Handunethi also explained the future course of action.
I need to state clearly that 2 reports will be submitted to Parliament regarding the central bank bond issue. We are facing another complicated situation due to the translation of this report. We don't have a lot of resources when translating to Tamil. The discussions we had also need to be included in the Hansard as attachments. We have prepared a plan to overcome these issues. We are attempting to present the reports on the 25th of this month, failing which we will attempt to do so by the 27th within the next parliamentary week.
Now, up until now, we've heard the views of a former chairman of COPE, the current chairman of COPE, civil society as well as one political party. Here are some of the views that were expressed by members of other political parties on this development. We have received word that there are attempts to turn this report into a mellow one. There may be varying views, but I hope that COPE will provide us with a good verdict. Then we can take action as a government. If there are 2 reports presented, then I believe that the President will have to appoint an investigative commission to look into both reports. We can't make anyone a thief or an innocent person without a proper investigation. But I personally believe that we cannot be satisfied with the actions of the former central bank governor. If anyone commits a mistake, they should be punished. Doesn't matter to which government he belongs to and what position he occupies.
You need to ask the UMP as to why they are obstructing the COPE report. The attempts being made to protect the former governor of the central bank and the steps taken to give him high-ranking positions when he stepped down, all these are not good decisions. Members of the central bank are being questioned by the FCID. From these investigations, we have received word that the fraud amounts about 11 billion. Similar figures have also been revealed through internal investigations. I believe that the President and the Prime Minister should come together and let an open investigation be conducted on this. We speak on good governance and standing up against corruption. We see officials and politicians being whisked off each day, yet they are taking steps to safeguard the former central bank governor. These actions are contradictory.
They are saying openly that the central bank governor committed a fraud. As a country, fraud and corruption is not a good thing. Everyone accepts that the most recent large-scale fraud took place centering the central bank. We are confident that President Maithripala Sirisena will take steps against this. President Sirisena is dedicated to creating a country free of fraud and corruption. But for the past 1 year and 7 months, they have not caught any thieves, simply filed cases against them. None of these cases have been completed. Everyone is out on bail.
The bond scam has become the biggest scam in the country. The parliamentarians have split into two groups and are forming two reports. This has never happened before. If such a scam took place, investigations should be held and punitive action should be taken in order to ensure that such situations don't arise in the future again.
COPE has been vested with the responsibility of creating reports following investigations. There is no way in which there could be a division within COPE because the report they compile is based on the evidence recorded through COPE. There should be no reason to present two reports. The two factions don't gather evidence separately. If two reports are being presented, then there must be two COPE chairpersons. I believe that everyone is disgusted with the events that have transpired. Persons connected to this controversy are attempting to sabotage the COPE report. It is the responsibility of the COPE chairman to defeat these attempts.
This COPE report won't be able to capture thieves of the past, of the present. This is beginning to look like a drama. There are two scripts. One report has not received a lot of support, so they drafted a second one. This second report is the one that they plan to unveil. How much did the actors involved in this drama receive? We will reveal it once the drama ends.
Now, the discussions that took place within the COPE committee has been reported widely across many media platforms. There were numerous media reports that were published on the papers today as well, and one interesting report appeared on the Island newspaper, which claims that the former governor of the central bank is responsible for the treasury bond scam. Let's take a look at this report filed by the Island newspaper.
The Island newspaper reported on the discussions that took place in COPE on the said report over the past 2 days. Several other newspapers also reported on the COPE report, with some even having headlines on the matter. The headlines of the Island article notes that, quote, "Good governance MPs are in a last-ditch battle to defend their man," unquote. It also notes that the UNP is to present an alternative report disputing the damning COPE report.
That's it from the Newsfirst newsroom for now. We have exciting news from the Gum at the 100-Day initiative as well. For that, I hand it over to Joel Outskun. Joel?
Well, thank you very much, Ramesh. The Gum at the 100-Day initiative is able to provide clean drinking water to the residents of the Baptist village in Apegama in Galle today, providing a solution to their long-standing drinking water issue.
The Gum at the 100-Day initiative. With the people, for the people.
We did not have water to drink for 11 years. The water was discolored. We could not consume it. We are happy from the bottom of our hearts for the service you have rendered. The Gum at the 100-Day initiative seems to be doing miracles. They are doing what the government has neglected. Close to 80 families in the Baptist village who were battered with the lack of clean drinking water after the tsunami will be benefited by the project.
Like the international media left you alone after covering the event, our leaders won't let us leave you stranded. Just like a problem will not be solved by taking off the leaves of a weed, we will start to take the root out. All these officials are those who have studied journalism. Their job is not to provide water facilities to villagers. Their job is not to put tar onto the roads. No one here are here because this is their duty. They are here willingly to help you.
The tree planting program and the program to distribute books to enhance the environment as well as the knowledge of the people were carried out in line with the Gum at the 100-Day initiative.
The Gum at the 100-Day initiative. With the people, for the people.
The government has decided to provide compensation to the parents of the two Jaffna University students killed in police fire.
A statement from the President's Media Division says that the President ordered officials to conduct an independent inquiry into the deaths of the two students of the Jaffna University and to produce a report before the courts without delay. It notes that the President was deeply grieved by the news of the death of two students. The President had said the inquiry will continue without any hindrance.
An independent poll conducted by the Centre for Policy Alternatives reveals a majority overwhelming of Sri Lankans prefer for the President to instruct the Prime Minister and the Cabinet of Ministers on the day-to-day affairs of the country. The poll comes in the backdrop of a constitutional reform process, which the poll reveals only 1.1% of Sri Lankans are extremely aware of.
62.4% believe that the President should be instructing the Prime Minister and the Cabinet of Ministers on the day-to-day affairs of government. 18.4% of the respondents preferred that the Prime Minister should be responsible for day-to-day affairs. Meanwhile, the poll conducted by the Centre for Policy Alternatives also revealed that a slim majority of 40.3% of the people are against the executive presidential system being completely abolished. 35.7% support the abolition, while 24% remain undecided. In terms of the constitutional reform process, the poll also reveals that awareness among the general public is low, with almost 25% of Sri Lankans saying that they did not know that a constitutional reform process is taking place in the country at the moment. The CPA also posed the question on whether the two main parties should have come together to form a national unity government. 56.45% of those who took part in the poll supported this decision.
OIC of the Kalpitiya police has been temporarily transferred to the Puttalam police. The DIG in charge of the area said that the transfer was made following the protest in the Kunyankulama area in Kalpitiya yesterday.
Small-scale fishermen in Kalpitiya who engaged in this protest refrained from setting off to sea today as well. Meanwhile, a demonstration was held before the Chilau fish market today in protest over the illegal fishing methods being adopted. The fishermen who commenced their demonstration along the Chilau beach then marched up to the Chilau bridge. Our correspondent said that over 1,000 fishermen from several areas engaged in this demonstration.
Around 50 boats carry out these activities using divers. They destroy the resources in the sea instead of catching fish.
Meanwhile, 15th anniversary of the Sri Vimukti Fisherwomen Association in Negombo was held today at the Jubilee Hall of the St. Maria Church in Negombo. Views were expressed about yesterday's protest in Kalpitiya.
The minister put in a commission or an investigation report from Nara. On 2 occasions he said this report was in favour of the small-scale fishermen, without stating that it is good and banning it. They have issued 53 more licences. With the licence, these fishermen businessmen work towards the destruction of the ocean.
6 persons were injured in the fight that broke out during the protest have been hospitalized. Police noted that protesters have set ablaze 2 vehicles and 3 boats. Small-scale fishermen commenced the protest on Thursday against the use of illegal methods in fishing while obstructing the vehicular movement on the Pallaviya-Kalpitiya road. A tense situation arose when another group of fishermen arrived at the location where the protest was being held and attacked the demonstrators. Accordingly, police took measures to call the special task force to control the situation.
I clearly said that I will not be influenced into giving in to their demands just because they obstructed the road. In the future too, if the fisheries community is making any demands obstructing vehicular traffic, I don't know, even if I lose my ministerial post, I will not give in to such demands. However, I am always ready for discussions. We are very much against the use of dynamite for fishing and we will take strict action against them. We will also take measures to remove other illegal methods as well.
However, the State Minister of Fisheries had this to say with regard to this problem.
The Good Governance government has given license to 52 Laila Suruku nets, so they were not allowed. By putting an end to Laila and Suruku nets via cabinet paper, we can put an end to this destruction and protect the rights of small-scale fishermen. After discussing with the Prime Minister and President, we need to put an end to this Laila Suruku nets that has become a nuisance to the whole country. If we do it, it will benefit the entire fishing community. Minister Sajid Premadasa, attending an event in Thessa Maharama, expressed views against the allegations that are raised against him.
Building material for the stupa that is being constructed at the Kumbhagaha Palace Subodharama Temple were presented by the Minister of Housing and Construction Sajid Premadasa under the Sasunataruna program. The Minister also presented financial aid for the construction of the stupa.
වැඩ කරන්න කම්මැලි කට්ටියට
The easiest thing for the people who do not carry out a service for the people who cannot provide a housing loan, provide jobs and provide concessions is to say that these are bribes. They criticize this. Did the people vote us in to these ministries to say that these are bribes? I have to say very proudly that these criticisms will not stop Premadasa.
නරින්ගේ විවේචනවලට සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාසව වටන්නත් බෑ නතර කරන්නත් බෑ කියන එක මම බොහොම ආඩම්බරෙන් මේ අවස්ථාවේ ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා.
Last Thursday, Action TV exposed as to how the chairman of the Lanka Development Bank and his affiliates appointed by the Good Governance government has taken the bank, which operated under the slogan, the heartbeat of Sri Lanka, on a ride. On our report, we identified the chairman in question as the former chairman of the Lanka Development Bank. He becomes the former chairman as per the provisions of the Banking Act when the central bank issued this statement on the 24th of March. The letter signed by the banking supervisor of the central bank says that since the individual has not complied with two sections of the Banking Act, his appointment as the chairman of the bank has been refused. Such a decision can only be reverted if the person in question provides an affidavit within 14 days from the initial letter and if that affidavit is taken up for consideration by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank. Since L. Gunawardena was not able to provide an affidavit within 14 days after the initial letter was sent, Gunawardena continuing to take part of the activities of the bank as a member of the Board of Directors after the 24th of March 2016 becomes a wrongful act. In addition, the authorities who are turning a blind eye to this also become wrongdoers. A situation like this can only arise in a backdrop where there is no Banking Act nor a general law in the country. By cancelling the appointment of L. Gunawardena through a letter on the 24th of March 2016, the central bank depicts to the country that there is a Banking Act prevalent. However, the inaction of the central bank with regard to the bank until yesterday not only shows its irresponsibility but also goes on to show the incompetence of the central bank. More details tomorrow.
Wild elephants had encroached into the Bhogababa village in Nochagaman, Radhapura, destroying 4 houses. Locals say that the number of houses destroyed by wild elephants this week has risen to 8. Home to around 110 families, the main occupation in the Bhogababa village is agriculture. The wild elephants that stormed into the village last night had destroyed the paddy stored in the houses. The villagers are facing a grave difficulty due to the attacks by wild elephants.
We ask for an electric fence to be constructed. It is hard for us to live here. We don't even have rainwater for cultivation. We are helpless. All we ask is that an electric fence be constructed.
Locals say that a lone elephant is causing much of the destruction in the village. They add up that they attempted to chase it away back to the wild last night.
We lit firecrackers to chase the elephant away. It was a tedious task. When the elephant entered the house, I ran out with my children.
Although we asked the Department of Wildlife to help us chase this elephant away, they never listened. A demonstration took place today against an alleged move to hand over the Sudarshi Cultural Institute over to a Japanese entity.
The Sudarshi Cultural Institute boasts of a history of over 62 years in Sinhala culture. The artists who are among the protesters chant that the institution is to be handed over to a Japanese NGO which is not affiliated with the Japanese embassy or the Japanese government.
This is where many great dramatists were born. To not allow it to be destroyed, we inform the authorities that this is a shameful act. This is located down Bullers Road. The land is economically valuable. Just imagine the value of the lives of these artists. Do not sell it. Do not sell us like you sell everything else. It is clear that a conspiracy is at work. We do not need another place. We can develop this institution. Allow us to do so. Do not sell this. The government must be held accountable. Without providing any assistance to develop this, they are attempting to destroy this. I cannot imagine from where this is coming from.
On the 29th of October 2014, a deadly landslide struck the village of Miriyabadda. For 2 years, around 75 families struggled to live without a home and even their most basic needs. Today, the villagers of Miriyabadda had a reason to smile.
Newsfirst was among the first to respond with the Sirasa Shakti Sahana Yatra following the deadly landslide. Despite the immense challenges that we faced on the ground, including the extremely unhelpful bureaucracy, Newsfirst, together with the people of Sri Lanka, were able to provide immediate relief to the people in destitute. For 2 years, we reported on the sluggish, incompetent and politicized manner in which houses for these people were being constructed. Despite this, today the villagers of Miriyabadda were handed over their new homes, ushering in a new life.
We said earlier that we will construct the houses. We have done that today. We are thankful to Shakti TV. The Ministry of Disaster Management provided relief. At the same time, Shakti TV brought in containers of aid. We thank the Shakti TV management. When they were searching for the bodies after the disaster, J. Sri Ranga was also here that morning. 2 bodies were recovered then. We have selected a different place for this housing project. But after the government change, Velayudham worked towards implementing this even though he is not with us. We have to remember him at this instance.
அதுக்கு பிறகு ஆட்சி மாற்றத்துக்கு பிறகு இன்னொரு இடத்துக்கு கொண்டாந்தாங்க. இந்த இடத்தை வாங்கி கொடுக்கிறதுக்கு இன்னைக்கு நம்மளோட இல்லனாலும் வேலாயுதம் பெரிய பாடுபட்டார். சில பேருக்கு தெரியல ஏன் இந்த வீடு திட்டம் லேட் ஆச்சு சொல்லி.
Some don't know why the construction of the houses was delayed. These houses were not under one ministry. However, we are happy that the people have got their houses even after 2 years. These houses were to be given on the 29th. However, I told the minister that if we give them their houses on the 22nd, the people will be able to celebrate Deepavali in their new houses. As per this request, the minister took measures to hand over the houses today. At the same time, by showing our statements constantly on TV, Shakti TV encouraged us. On behalf of the people of Miriyabadda and the people of the upcountry, I would like to thank Shakti TV for pushing us into expediting this process.
சக்தி டிவிக்கும் மீரியாபத்து மக்கள் சார்பாகவும் மலை மக்கள் சார்பாகவும் நன்றி சொல்றேன் நான்.
Former chairman of the Federation of University Teachers Association, or FUTA, Dr. Nirmal Ranjit Devasari shared these views appearing on the Newsline segment broadcast on our sister channel, Sirasa TV.
Is there a need for political or civil movements in the country? The country is still in a transitional situation. Even though the old system collapsed, a new system has not still come into effect. The situation that is prevailing now is the same. The Rajapaksa system did not collapse due to the intervention and the actions of a group who were acting based on one singular vision or one singular agenda. There was a large group of people involved. The hopes that those people had and the aspiration of the people that they were appointed by varied.
බලාපොරොත්තු ඒ අය නියෝජනය කරපු මහජන අභිලාෂ ගොඩ විවිධයි.
Do you think that there is a political hand behind the investigations that are being carried out?
මම හිතන්නේ නැහැ දේශපාලන මැදිහත් වීම.
I do not think that there is a situation where the law can be meted out without political intervention. The mistakes of this government will have to be looked into by the government that comes into power next. We cannot think that it will happen during this government.
කෙරෙයි කියලා හිතන්න අමාරුයි.
On that note, we wrap up this edition. Thank you very much for stopping by. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Joel Outsgoon. Take care. Good night.